Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm your host and CEO of VitalityOET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start going through so many changes in this time of your life, whether that be hot flashes and night sweats, irritability and brain fog, or weight gain around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere despite you not changing anything. But we know now that your body is inherently different than it was before these hormonal changes. So our mission here at Vitality is to help you understand how your body has changed during this time in your life so you can finally reach your health and fitness goals, live a life full of vitality, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So we're coming up to the holiday season here, and I was thinking of different topics that we could talk about. We could talk about stress around the holidays and avoiding holiday weight gain and navigating holiday eating out and alcohol and all of those things, stressors, maybe your mother-in-law being a pain in the butt and commenting on dry turkey. Maybe your kids are driving you crazy. Maybe you're traveling a ton. There's so many things that I could talk about. But today, I was writing a Facebook post that I'm going to be posting later in our Facebook group. And it made me sad. It made me cry. So I'll probably cry on this podcast as well. But I felt really compelled to talk about something that's really important to me. And yes, I love women's hormones. I love talking about health and fitness, biomechanics and physiology and fitness and exercise and all the things to really help you improve your health and live a better life. But the thing that I really want to talk about is living, being present, and enjoying the moment. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. This is going to be a hard one to go through, but I want to talk about my mom's story for a while now. I think it's very important, and it's something that I think we don't talk about enough because we all worry about how we're going to look in holiday photos. We're so worried about being bloated and what people will say about us. We get in fights and we argue, and we're so caught up in the guilt of eating certain foods, or we indulge too much and then we feel crappy about ourselves and we're ashamed and embarrassed and then we punish ourselves. And that ends up being this cycle of what we focus on. And we're so focused on what other people will think and what we did wrong and how it sucked or it could have been better, but we forget to live and be here. And that's a really important thing because life is freaking short. So the last Christmas that I had with my mom and my sister, our little family all together, was December of 2020. My sister was back visiting from Vancouver. She was staying with my mom for a little while before she headed off to Cyprus in the Mediterranean to go to med school. She's very excited. She's already a few years in, obviously now. She's doing like clinical rotations and she's crushing it like we all knew she would. But that was our last Christmas together. It was December 2020. And I was with someone else at the time, not Taylor. Obviously, we haven't been together that long, but so Taylor never got the opportunity to meet her, which also sucks. Sorry if there's random pauses. It's just me trying to pull it together. And if you're on YouTube, you get to see me cry a lot today. But this is important. So I was with someone else at that time. And we always celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve. Because in Argentinian culture, that's when you do it because it's hot there. It's like the middle of summer. So you have supper very late. So you celebrate Christmas, Christmas Eve, like late in the evening. We would have people come over about like 11 a.m. and everyone would be there. We have family friends that would come over, like just regular friends, extended family, our friends' extended family. Like it was always a really big deal growing up. So Christmas Eve was just something that we continued to do growing up. We'd open presents at like midnight and we just spend the whole day together, like eating continuously. And we'd always play Monopoly. And my mom would always trade the best cards to the person that we were dating at the time to try and end the game early because it would last forever. And we used to get so mad at her. We'd then make puzzles while we're like baking all day. And then we'd have a big supper and then continue eating baking in the evening. And it was always really great. But the last Christmas I had with her was different. I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't like the way I looked. My sister didn't like a lot of the pictures that we took, so she deleted a bunch of them. My sister and I were bumping heads like we always do. We're a lot better now for sure. But I mean, we just had classic arguments and we would get mad at each other and swear at each other. And that Christmas, I can't remember what we ate. I can't even remember the baking. I can't remember the last Christmas cookie my mom made for me. And my mom loved to bake. She was not a great cook. Cooking was more my thing. My mom could cook like 6 things. She did not like cooking. She liked baking. There was brownies. There was all kinds of cookies that you could think of, like so many. The freezer would be so full, and she just enjoyed the baking process. She loved eating the baking. Like she loved giving it away. She loved every aspect of it. And I can't remember the last one that I had. And I never got the opportunity to learn how to make a lot of those things. And that Christmas, like, we didn't do puzzles. We didn't play board games because I was in a rush. I was in a bad mood. I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't want to be there. And I left really early that night. I can't remember what we ate. I can't remember any of it except leaving annoyed at my mom and sister. And that was the last one that we had. Because the following year, I wouldn't know this, but I traveled quite a bit at the end of 2022. Oh, sorry, 2021. So I didn't see my mom since the end of November, early December of 2021. She went to Vancouver for Christmas to spend with her brother, her sister, and her husband, and my cousin, my grandma. They spent Christmas all together in Vancouver. And when she was there, like I can't remember even like FaceTiming with her at Christmas that year. Like I can't remember any of that. I really don't. Which is really sad. And she came back in January and she had COVID, so I couldn't see her. So I hadn't seen her since, again, like late November, early December. And she messaged me on January 20th of, sorry guys, of 2022. And she wanted to see me because I had my clinic at that time, working as a manual osteopathic therapist. I had like massage therapists. I had a studio. I had personal trainers. It was great. And I was the only one working that day. And my mom took an Uber to the clinic because I said I could squeeze her in. And she walked in and I was horrified. She could barely walk. She'd lost about 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Her eyes were like sunken into her face. Her skin color was like a grainy pale. And like you would think that she was like a homeless person on the street. And she walked in and I immediately started crying. And she's like, I'm okay. My back really hurts, Steph. Can you just like help release stuff? Like things hurt. And then she laid on the table and I was like, Mom, something else is wrong. This is not right. There's something else wrong. So I took her to Emerge, even though she didn't want to, because she doesn't like to be a pain. She doesn't like to bother people. She wants to do everything herself. She just doesn't want to be a burden, you know? So I took her to Emerge. And I had to fight a lot with doctors and stuff there. It took forever to see someone. It was like over 8 hours before we got her actually admitted. But I told them about her cancer history. She had been having trouble breathing since May. Doctors told her it was asthma. I told her no, because the inhalers would have worked. You need to push harder. And she never did because she doesn't want to be a burden. She doesn't want to be a pain. And the doctors would know, right? So I told the doctors, I'm like, she's been having trouble breathing since May. She had colon cancer 9 years ago. She had the surgery to get the tumor removed. She had precautionary chemo. However, we all know here, like myself and the doctors, because I like to research, and I was in grad school and stuff, like I love science and medical and health and all those things. And I said, and you know that if colon cancer spreads, it goes to lung and liver. She's been having breathing issues. The back pain could be referred pain from something going on with her lungs with cancer. And they were like, that's highly unlikely. The chances are super low. And I said, I know, but can you just do me a solid and check, because this is not normal. This is not okay. My mom is incredibly active. How do you go from biking an hour every day to work because she enjoyed it, and she would walk 2 hours to a bakery every Saturday, like almost 2 hours to go to a bakery and sit down with a book and have coffee with a chocolate croissant every Saturday, to now not being able to walk up the stairs without being winded and needing to take a break? That's not normal. Asthma doesn't come on that quickly. And they wouldn't listen to me. And I got pretty aggressive at one point and said, I am not fucking leaving until you scan her. So they did me a solid ultrasound instead. And then the doctor came back and said, she has a collapsed lung. And that's when I knew that it was going to be everywhere. So they admitted her that day, and turns out that there was a tumor blocking her entire left airway, collapsing her lung. And who knows how long it was there for. So they admitted her. They gave her pain med right away. And she started feeling better and was more talkative and was happy and was like, maybe this mass is just like mucus or something. This tumor was about the size of a softball. Like, bless her heart for trying to be optimistic, but I know enough about healthcare and all this stuff from our first go around that this was something else. So I went home and then went back to the hospital the next day. Brought her all the stuff that she wanted, her books, her iPad to play games, all those things. And she messaged me saying, oh, they've put me in a beautiful room. I have a view. Like, just such an optimistic person in such a crappy time. Sorry. And so then I was with her every day with the doctors for most of the day, because my sister was now in Cyprus in the Mediterranean, a very, very far away. I don't have any family here. My aunt and uncle are in Vancouver with my grandma, my mom's brother. My uncle is in Norway. And then my cousin is in Ontario. So I'm here by myself. And so I had to take care of her. And the plan was, they did the screens. They found the mass on her tumor, they did the biopsy, and yes, it was cancerous. They found spots on her liver and in her spine. And they found the tumors in her brain. And they were like, we can do radiation to try and, help her through and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, like, can you keep her in the hospital until that time, like, until we figure this out? Because I need to, like, move into my mom's house. We need to have a hospital bed there. Like, we need to figure all this stuff out. And we had a plan. And I had a snowboarding trip planned. And I asked my mom, I'm like, are you going to be okay for 2 days if I still go snowboarding? And she goes, yes, go enjoy. I'm not going anywhere. Just, I'll see you in 2 days. So I went. We went snowboarding. And then at 7 o'clock in the morning, I got the call that my mom was unconscious. And I'd fallen out of bed and hit her head pretty bad. And you see, I had flown to this snowboard trip, so I couldn't get on a flight soon enough. So I rented a car to drive home, and that is by far the fastest I've ever driven in my life. The fact that I did not see a cop or get in an accident is a blessing. But the doctor called me and said, "She's unconscious. You are in charge of her health directive. Do you want to sign a DNR?" And I just said, "Just keep her alive until I get there, please." So, driving on the way home, I had to make the calls to my family, telling them that my mom wasn't going to make it. And if they wanted to come to see her, I didn't know how long she would have. And at first, my family was in shock, and they're like, "Are you sure you didn't hear wrong?" And I had to tell them that they asked me if I wanted to sign a DNR, and then I should get to the hospital as quickly as I could. So I got there, and luckily they were able to get my mom back to consciousness by through some medications to help with swelling in the brain and things like that. And she was so out of it when I got there. And I had to speak to the doctors when I got there, and my mom was just so out of it. She had one nurse who was amazing. And she was telling my mom, she's like, "Oh, like I heard you hit your head pretty bad last night." And my mom was like, "Oh, you fell down? Must have been a great party," and like started laughing. She was so out of it. And so then I had to talk to the doctors before anyone else got there. And they told me that the tumors in her brain had grown substantially in the last 3 days. And there was nothing they could do. And luckily, my aunt and uncle from Vancouver got there. So I wasn't alone anymore. And, sorry. And, I have like never seen my aunt cry before. Just once. And the palliative care doctors came in when my mom was finally in better consciousness with the medications they gave her. And they were asking her like what she understood about the situation and stuff. And my mom is just, she was so cute and just so happy. And they were like, "So what do you understand?" She's like, "Well, I understand that like there's nothing they can do. So I guess I'll just stay here for the next few months or whatever that looks like. I can hop on Zoom calls with my team and help them train someone. Like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay." And I remember the doctor saying, "That's great, Veronica. I'm glad you're in such good spirits and accepting of this. But you don't have that much time." And my mom was kind of confused. And she's like, "Okay, so like just a couple months then, maybe not like 6. And he just looked at her, and my mom just kept looking at me. And my aunt was just bawling. So I had to take my mom's hand because, well, her first language isn't English. So I had to tell her, I said, "Mom, you've maybe got a couple weeks, but we're going to be okay and you're going to be okay." She was absolutely shocked. And then started trying to comfort me. because that's the kind of person she is. My sister was able to get there a few days later, as well as my uncle from Norway. So we were all able to be with her for a bit. And ultimately, my mom made the decision just to go off the meds, because the meds and stuff would keep her for probably 4 weeks. And she didn't see the point. So she decided to stop those as soon as all the family got there. So once my uncle from Norway got there, the next day they stopped the meds. And then my sister and my uncle from Norway had to go before my mom passed. And I stayed there every night with her because I didn't want her to ever feel alone. So from the day that I took her to the hospital to the day that she left, it was 23 days. But I am so grateful that I had those 23 days. Because we got to talk and reminisce on things. And she made me promise her a few things. And the first was that she didn't want me to be alone and to find someone who keeps me young and makes me laugh and wants to go on adventures and is supportive of my dreams and my career. Because I'm the kind of person that goes all in on that kind of stuff. And I found him. I just wish he could have met her. She told me to go for my passions and to never have any regrets, to always live in the moment and remember what really matters. And just to be happy and to enjoy life because it's short. And she told us that she was so proud to have us as daughters. I'm so proud that she was my mom and everything she accomplished. She went through so much in her lifetime, from the abuse physically and emotionally from my dad to being completely isolated, to having to work jobs that she hated, to, struggling with her weight and not loving the way that she looked and having low self-esteem and living in a house with mold because my dad just didn't care about us, to finally being able to leave him to start a new life. And I mean, she only had 9 years of that, but those last 9 years were the happiest I'd ever seen her. So it's never too late to change the life that you're living, to take control. She was a firm believer in that you can do anything that you want to do. You can change your life. What you've been through doesn't matter. Nobody gets to tell you what those moments mean, what they define in you. You get to decide what those experiences are and what they mean. And I mean, losing my mom is easily the hardest thing that I've ever been through. The feelings of grief are intense and come out of nowhere. But it taught me a lot. The first is that I'm incredibly grateful to have had that relationship with my mom, because a lot of people go their entire life and never get a relationship like that with any of their parents. To have felt the love that my mom had to give. She went to every sports thing, every play we ever were in. everything. Drove us to every practice, was the taxi mom, would wake up at 4 a.m. to go to a job that she hated, but was able to make sure that she was driving us to practices, was our biggest supporter. Like, she sacrificed a lot for us. But she also enjoyed every moment of it. She loved being a mom. I think it's really what she was meant to do. And it's something that made her happier than anything else in the world. But she also just enjoyed the little things. The laughter, the goofing off, every single little moment. She loved taking pictures, and we get so annoyed. And now, what I would do to have those moments back, to take those pictures. And I guess just what I'm trying to explain here or share with you is, yeah, the holidays can be a lot. You know, we focus on all these materialistic things, the gifts we did or didn't get, that we gave or didn't receive, that reactions that we didn't get that we wanted, the stress of finances, people criticizing us, commenting on our personal lives, our appearance, our choices, freaking out on ourselves and feeling ashamed because we didn't eat the way we wanted to. We feel guilty for indulging. We feel ashamed and embarrassed for letting ourselves become the way that we are right now. Being hard on ourselves as we're not where we want to be yet. But who gives a shit? Why does all that stuff matter? Like, yes, we want to have good health. Yes, we want to look good. Yes, we want to have control. But at the same time, to what extent are we sacrificing things? Like, what I would give to go back to Christmas of 2020 and be there, really be there, and really live and have memories that I can remember from that last Christmas all together. Because all I have is one photo of the three of us. That was the last photo the three of us ever took together. So just remember, it's just a couple days. It's just a few meals. It's not going to destroy the rest of your life, the way that you look in your health. It's literally just a few days. So enjoy them. Be present. Ask questions. Have memories. Ask your family to tell them stories of their holidays when they were younger. Take advantage of the time and live, you guys, and make the memories, because you have never any idea when it's your last one. I'm sorry this is such a heavy and tough to listen to, I'm sure, with all the sniffling and stuff. But just remember to live, to be present, to live in the moment, take the photos, make the memories, because you never know when it's going to be too late. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. I hope this wasn't too gross for you to listen to. But remember what matters. Okay? It's just a few couple days. Make them the best couple days. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.